Can you have an accurate commercial real estate appraisal without a recent ALTA survey or land title survey? It's an important question. Before we answer it, let's break that definition down a little bit. The definition is some of those key terms in the question. So again, the question is, can you have an accurate commercial real estate appraisal without a recent ALTA survey? So let's look at three parts of that question. The first is, what do I mean by accurate? Well, accurate means reliable for investment and risk management decisions. If you're paying money for an appraisal, you want it to be accurate, right? You want to be able to use that appraisal to make decisions. Accurate also means you have a fairly small range between the low and high probable values, right? You want a tight spread there between the low and high probable values. And you hope that the middle value in that range is somewhere near the actual market value. So that's what we mean by accurate. What do we mean by an appraisal? An appraisal essentially answers the question, what is this parcel worth, either now or at some future point in time. Appraisals can be formal or informal. In this particular case, in this question, we're talking about a formal appraisal. So a bank or a real estate investor has hired a professional appraiser to appraise a piece of commercial real estate. They want an accurate, formal appraisal. And then we have the third part of that question, can you do that? Can you provide an accurate appraisal for a piece of commercial real estate without a recent ALTA survey? What do I mean by recent? I typically mean in California less than 5 years. Why 5 years? 5 years is our statutory period for unwritten rights or prescriptive rights, also known as squatters' rights. So you ideally want a survey that's been done in the last 5 years. Now, I say ALTA survey. It doesn't have to be an ALTA survey. It could be what we call a due diligence survey, a good boundary survey. But it needs to show the parcel boundary, the easements and leases that impact the property, any structures, and major utilities. So it doesn't have to be an ALTA survey, but if it can be a due diligence survey, but it needs to show those things. So let's get back to the question now and answer it. Can you provide an accurate, formal appraisal of a commercial real estate parcel without a recent survey? The answer is no, you absolutely cannot do that. Now, why not? Why can't you provide an accurate appraisal without a recent survey? And some people say, Landon, the only reason you're telling us that is because you want to sell surveys. And that's true. I do want to sell surveys. I am in the business of selling and executing surveys. But even though I want to sell surveys, this is important, and it's the truth. I'm not just telling you because I want to sell surveys. You can't have a good appraisal, commercial real estate appraisal, without a recent survey. Now, you can have a half-baked appraisal, or an inaccurate appraisal, or an informal appraisal of commercial real estate without a recent survey, but you can't have an accurate and formal appraisal without a recent survey if you're dealing with commercial real estate. Why is that? Well, that's because boundary, land title, and land use issues, the types of issues that are disclosed by a proper survey, can have a huge impact on the actual market value of a parcel. And I want to give you three quick examples. These are real life examples from my own practice in the last 10 years. I had a parcel over in Fairfield, and there was a couple of commercial buildings on the front of the parcel. The back half of the parcel was undeveloped, and we got hired to do a boundary survey. And the client wanted to redevelop the parcel and develop the back half. And through the course of the survey, we discovered that there was actually a slough or a creek that had been undergrounded and actually went underneath the back half of the parcel in a huge concrete tunnel. A tunnel was probably 10 feet in diameter. That was going to have a huge impact on what they could build in the back half of the parcel. So that's an example of, if you were an appraiser that was brought in to evaluate how much a parcel was worth or potentially worth if it was developed, the back half was developed, and you didn't have a good survey, you didn't know about that underground slough, that's going to, you can provide an appraisal in that situation, but if you don't have a good survey, you don't know about the tunnel, it's not going to be an accurate appraisal. We had another example up in the Sacramento area. We did an ALTA survey of a marina, of a boat marina and resort, and it didn't have access to the public road, so it was landlocked. Nobody realized it was landlocked until we did the survey. Again, that can be a huge issue, right? A landlocked parcel is not worth the same as a parcel that has access to a public road, especially commercial real estate parcel like this, resort type of parcel. So again, if you're doing an appraisal there and you haven't reviewed a good survey, you can provide an appraisal, but it's not going to be accurate if you don't understand the issues, the land title issues that are going on there. And then the final example, the third one, and this happened just the last few months, we did a survey of a mini storage parcel, and one of the mini storage buildings was actually built into the adjacent state highway right-of-way, and not by a little bit, by feet. So that's a problem, right? Now, again, you can provide an appraisal on that parcel, but if you don't have a good survey, you're not going to know about the building encroachment, and the parcel is obviously not worth the same without the encroachment as it is with the encroachment. So what are the lessons here as we wrap up the video? Buyers and lenders, get a survey. If you're paying for an appraisal, you need to pay for a survey. It doesn't do any good to get an appraisal without a survey when you're dealing with commercial real estate. In order to have a good, accurate, reliable appraisal, you got to have a good boundary survey. You can't do one without the other. And then finally, once you paid for the survey, make sure that your appraiser actually looks at it, right? Don't pay for the survey and then not give it to your appraiser. And ideally, the appraiser will meet with your boundary surveyor, and we'll talk about potential boundary, land title, land use issues that were discovered on the survey before the appraisal is completed. And finally, appraisers, real property appraisers, you need to be survey literate. You need to understand the types of issues that can be disclosed on a survey, how those issues could potentially affect or impact or affect the value of the parcel, and you need to be able to read a survey and have a conversation with the boundary surveyor. So, can you get an accurate, reliable commercial real estate appraisal without a recent survey? The answer is no, you cannot. If you want a good commercial real estate appraisal in California, you need a good survey that was done in the last 5 years.